Good morning, all. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll focus on the settlement part. Okay, we have seen so many people have given bearing capacity equations. Okay, so before going to that, one more important equation also I will see. That is how we find out the bearing capacity by using a standard penetration test. So this is very already we know that very famous test SPT. From the SPT, if you have n values and there are so many correlations are available with the n values, we can find out the using the n value we can find out the phi uh, internal angle friction and so on. Okay, so anyway it is self-explanatory whatever it is given here. So one method would be to find out the uh, bearing capacity by using SPT. N values already we have studied. Okay, so n every 15 centimeter we will find out the n values. Okay, first 15 will neglect it, and this 2 will consider, and it will give n values. Okay, more is the number, better is the soil. Okay, so that we know already, and we have seen so many correlations with the that one. We can find out the phi value. Once we have phi values, again what we can do is we can n c, n q, n gamma we can find out, and we can find out the bearing capacity by using that one. Okay, we can use whatever Terzaghi, if Terzaghi is given, Terzaghi's bearing capacity equation and other people's. Okay, again our suitability based on our suitability to field condition. One more method is Tenge has this. Tenge fellow has also given. He has given direct formulas for finding of the bearing capacities. Okay, so what he says is he has given these formulas. Hope it is visible. Okay, so net ultimate, directly net ultimate, he has given these formulas. You can guess this W gamma and WQ are water table correction factor which we have seen it. Okay, here we know this water correction factor. Anyway, we have seen those equation of water correction. If you know the n values and depth of the foundation, we can find out the ultimate bearing capacity of soil. If depth of the footing is greater than the B, then use depth of the footing as B. Okay, and WQ and W, these are the water table correction factor which we have seen in this section. This is for strip footing. Okay, and again he has given for the square and the circular footing here. So this is the equation he has given for that. So from this is net ultimate. Net shape, how will get a net shape? By dividing this net ultimate divided by factor of safety. Okay, likewise here you will get net shape. Then grass shape, grass allowable and so on. Yesterday only we have seen these things. Okay, so likewise by using the n value also we can find out the bearing capacity. That you should keep it in your mind by using the bearing capacity. Now next is this one we are more interested. Actually, these things also you can go through how what will happen if the load is eccentricity. That's what it is given here. But today's focus would be on this settlement. Okay, this is very important for us. Okay, so settlement of a foundation. So what will happen and how much it should settle and so on. So this settlement of a foundation, if you see in consolidation chapter, we have seen that we have immediate or elastic settlement, we have consolidation, and we have final settlement also. Three types of settlements. Okay, so immediate settlement or elastic settlement, it takes place during immediately after construction. also known as the distortion settlement, okay, within the foundation of the soil. Then consolidation settlement, already we know this, okay. So this is due to the expulsion of the water, gradual expulsion of the water. So all these three we will add it finally. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain. Next is secondary settlement. This is secondary settlement. Just take me. Sorry. Okay. So secondary settlement, this component is due to the secondary consolidation. Already we know that settlement occurs after the completion of the primary. Primary means first one. Okay, it can be determined from the coefficient of secondary consolidation. That's we have seen the readjustment of the particle and this inorganic clays. The secondary consolidation not significant in the inorganic clays and silty clays. Okay, so finally total settlement is this one initial, and this consolidation is very important. Second one is very important, as I told. Okay, this consolidation settlement is very important for us. There are some other reasons also, causes also, which causes the settlement. That can be underground erosion, okay, formation of the cavities in the subsoil, or a collapse of the soil, structural collapse, okay, structural collapse of some soils such as saline, non-cohesive soils, gypsum, silt, clays, okay, the losing of the structure. There may be thermal changes because of the cause the shrinkage, expansion, and so on. Frost, maybe ice and other things. Okay, frost heave occurs if the structure is not founded below the depth of the frost penetration when this thaw occurs. Okay. So next maybe vibration, nearby vibration or shock. Because of that, also settlement takes place. Some, if at all, some mining activities, the landslide nearby, creep, change in the vicinity due to the construction near buildings. Okay. So these are the other causes. But we'll mostly focus on the this consolidation. So so how generally we do analysis of this one? Okay. So load settlement analysis, if you read, so here what it says, how to generally find out this one? There are some codal provision also in the codes also it is given. Dead loads, what load for the settlement analysis, what load we have to take it actually for this settlement analysis. The load include the weight of the column, okay, weight of the column we have to take it, wall weight anyway will come, footing weight or foundation or overlying fill, but not the include the weight of the displaced soil will not include it. Okay, and these are the dead load, these are the dead loads. Okay, what about the live load? Live load, these live loads are taken from the IS code has given, 8875 has given this live load. Okay, depends on the structures. So wind loads and seismic loads should be considered wherever applicable. Okay, when you are taking a big building, high towers and all. So these wind load and the seismic loads comes into the picture. However, where the wind or a seismic load is less than 25% of the combined dead and live load, it may be neglected. That means when you combine dead and the live load, if it is coming less than 25%, no, then we'll neglect it. Okay. So, but if the winds are very high, if it is constructed in the earthquake prone areas, zone 5, then we have to consider this wind loads also. Well, you might have studied, okay, in your RCC or structural analysis now. Okay, so this thing you may be knowing all these things. So that's what it is given. And For a foundation resting on a coarse-grained soil, the settlement should be estimated corresponding to the full dead load, live load, and the wind load, in such that settlement occurs in a short time. Okay, so a pile foundation on a fine-grained soil corresponding to the permanent load. Okay, so all the dead load, live load, due to the fixed equipment are taken as permanent. So these are the codal provision we will follow it. Okay, whether to take wind load or earthquake load. Now, how generally we find out this immediate settlement of a cohesive soil? So this guy, Schleicher, how do you pronounce? Okay, Schleicher, in 1926, he has given this formula for immediate. S means SI means immediate. Okay, we have seen immediate settlement. So the linear theory of elasticity is used to determine the elastic settlement of a footing on a saturated clay, and it is given by this formula. Okay, this is the load intensity B. Okay, soil ES is the modulus of a soil, and this mu may be, let me check it, Poisson's ratio or something like that. Yes, we'll wait. Okay. So mu is the Poisson's ratio, as I said. Okay. Uh, Here Q is the uniform distributed load, B is the characteristic length of a loaded area, E is the modulus of elasticity, and mu is the Poisson's ratio. Generally, we take 0.5 for saturated clay, and I is the influence factor. This influence factor value is also given here for a different shape and other things. Okay, the circle, square, rectangle, or in the rectangle, if the L by B is 1.5, 2, and so on. And the if this is for flexible footing, this is for the rigid footing. Okay, so this is for the flexible footing and this is for the rigid footing. You know the difference between flexible and the rigid, right? So flexible, rigid, whatever you see, we can go for a construction that is called rigid footing. Sometimes we use these hard tires footings, okay, that will behave as a flexible footing below the oil tank and so on. So he has given these values and we can find out the immediate settlement. Okay, and next immediate settlement of a cohesionless soil. Immediate settlement of a cohesive soil we have seen, and this equation gives the immediate settlement of a cohesionless soil. So as cohesionless soil do not follow the Hooke's law, okay, there won't be any load settlement and other things. Okay, immediate settlement are computed using the semi-empirical approach proposed by the Smetman and the Hartman. Okay, these two guys in 1978, they have given this equation. Okay, mainly for the cohesionless soil. This one is. So C1 is the correction factor for the depth of foundation embankment, which can be calculated like this. C2 is the correction factor for creep. Okay, Q dash is the pressure at the level of the foundation. Q is the surcharge gamma df. I is the modulus of elasticity. Same thing. I is the influence modulus or strain influence modulus. Okay, and the values of strain influence matter varies linearly for different square and circular footing, and everything would be given. Okay, don't get panic. So these are the equations we can use it. Okay, for our immediate settlement. So everything would be given, and the values how it is changing also given here. Okay, so whatever you see with the foundations, okay, depth, and he has drawn graph, that's all, nothing else. Okay, how it is varying. So here if you see here the EI value is varying with different depth by taking the values. And he also given these equations also for calculating E. The value of E can be determined from the standard penetration test. Again, the standard penetration has come. So once you know N values, we can find out ES. Once you know static cone penetrations value, we can find out this one. There are some procedures also given. Okay. Next, coming to the consolidation settlement. So what we are seeing is initial settlement, then the consolidation settlement, and final settlement. So all three we are going to add it. That's what we are studying. Okay, nothing else. Just one reading would be enough to understand this one. Now here consolidation settlement, if you recall, how do you found this consolidation settlement? First, the settlement at any time after t time we will measure it. Okay, if you recall your consolidation chapter, okay, the consolidation settlement occurs in a saturated clay when these are subjected to increased load caused by the foundation. Okay, the method for computation of the consolidation have been discussed in the previous chapter. And after t time, how much would be the consolidation settlement? Means first we add this initial plus final. What is this U? If you recall, this is the degree of consolidation, how much percentage it is. Okay, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 and all. And we have to take it in point. If it is 70, we have to take 0.7 and all. If you recall your consolidation chapter, okay. So U is the degree of consolidation, SF is the final consolidation settlement, SI the immediate settlement. And the degree of consolidation U depends on what? This time factor, if you recall. Okay, you recall this equation. TV equals CVT by D, okay, by D square. Okay, TV equal CV T divided by D square. If you recall this D, what was this D? If you recall drainage path, suppose we have drainage, if you recall, okay, and from here one side would be H by 2, and if drainage taking place whole will be H. You recall just your consolidation chapter. So these equations are very important for gate and all. Okay, they will give ask in the gate. And finally we are finding this whole thing. Next, settlement of foundation on cohesionless soil with the help of graphs or N values. Here if you look at again, now let us look at this one. So look at this graph. Directly we can find out the settlement based on the for a cohesionless soil. So one side we are plotting the width of the footing, other side settlement per unit pressure, kilometer per meter square. Okay, so here N values, these are the N values. As the N values are increasing, what is happening? Settlement is reducing. Okay, and there are methods also we can using the static cone penetration method, standard penetration method, pellet flow test for cohesionless soil. Especially for cohesionless soil we can use these methods. What are those methods? Standard penetration method also can be used because it is all depend on the N values. Okay, and we can use this to the static cone penetration test also. So here cone penetration resistance is given this by using this formula. So here the settlement of a foundation of cohesionless soil take place rather quickly. Okay, and because of this difficulty, the sampling cohesionless soil is not possible to obtain the stress strain characteristic. Here the static cone penetration method, in this method the sand layer is divided into different layers. This one I'm reading. Okay, in this method the sand layer is divided into small layer. That small layer has the constant value of cone penetration resistance. The average value of cone penetration resistance is determined, the settlement of each small layer is estimated by using these equation, and is given by these dB and the Martens. Okay, H would be the thickness of the layer. Okay, C also he has given, and effective stresses, change in the stresses, and so on. Here again, the standard print can be determined from the settlement of cohesionless soil. IS code gives the chart for the, so this chart is given for IS code. So what we are seeing, if you recall, there are charts and other many things are available to find out the uh, what do you say, settlement and all. Now we'll read this one. The accuracy of this foundation settlement prediction. So whatever we are seen okay previously, now this is very important. Now the prediction of the foundation settlement as discussed above is rarely accurate. In fact, it is extremely difficult to estimate the probable settlement of footing because of the following reason. So because of this following reason, the first region we'll read first, second, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so first region is the soil deposits are seldom isotropic and linear elastic. The deposits are generally non-homogeneous. So we will consider everything soil as isotropic, and all that is not the case. Okay, it is not possible to estimate the increasing stress by load. Okay, so Bujnus solutions gives the approximate result, whatever we have measuring, right? Whatever you see, this one or this, all these things in the equations. So we are measuring very approximate only. So computation of the immediate settlement, it is not possible to estimate the correct value of the modulus of elasticity. Again, modulus of elasticity is again a big thing, how we can measure it. Okay, we cannot measure by using some formulas, because we have to find out in the laboratory when the depth changes, again modulus of elasticity changes, and so on. Then the rigidity of foundation is usually neglected and the pressure distribution assumed to be uniform, but that is not the case. Okay, and it is difficult to obtain the undisturbed samples of cohesionless soil. The semi-empirical method do not give the proper result. But still, if you read the last sentence here, despite all the above reasons, the settlement in most of the cases can be estimated in accuracy of about 25 to 30%, which is a good enough by knowing the complexity of the problem. That means by knowing all other things, but still we believe that these formulas really works, and we will are going to use those equations also. Now this is all about the story about the settlement, immediate settlement, consolidation settlement. There are equations given by various people. How to find out those equations are there. Okay, now what is the allowable settlement actually? How much generally we allow? So if you see, look at here, this particular thing is very important. Okay, this particular paragraphs are very important here. So if you read it, if there are large differences settlement between the various parts of the structure, the damage may occur due to the additional this one. Okay, moment develop. So this differential settlement and all, I think instead of reading this one, what I'll do is directly I will go to one table they will give. Okay, then this is the table. So this table is very important. Okay, this table is very important. Look at here, sand and hard clay and plastic clay. So maximum and differential settlements are given here. What is the gel? It is given. You read that paragraph. Okay, angular distortion and all. So these things are very important for us. So here, foundation, isolated foundation, steel structure, raft foundation, uh, then then steel structure and RCC. this is isolated and this is raft. Okay, so how much should be the maximum settlement we will allow it? If you recall here, this is maximum settlement 50 mm we will allow it. Okay, and for a raft it would be 75 mm. Maximum settlement. Understood. That means raft we will allow more settlement to the raft, because raft is like a mat foundation. Okay, so we'll allow more settlement to that compared to the isolated. So maximum 75 also will allow it. Okay, for a raft foundation. But in the case of the isolated footing, 50 mm only we will allow it. 50 mm means 5 centimeter. We can allow 5 centimeter. This is a maximum settlement, not the differential settlement. Maximum 5 we can allow it. So here again, I think it's better I will read that para so that you will understand what it is all about. Okay, so differential settlement generally 25 only it would be. If the large differential settlement between the various parts of the structure, damage may occur due to the additional moment developed. Okay, it is more difficult to predict the differential settlement than the predicting the maximum settlement. The differential settlement are generally obtained indirectly from the maximum settlement. It has been found from the actual observation of the various existing building that differential settlement seldom exceeds 75% the maximum settlement. In fact, in most cases, differential settlement is less than 50% of the maximum. So that means 50% divided by 2 is 25. That's what I was trying to tell you. Okay, if you remember maximum settlement, differential settlement is more dangerous. Okay, maximum we will allow 25%, 25 mm. 25 mm means how much? 2.5 centimeter. We will not allow more than that 2.5 centimeter. Okay, maximum generally. Hence the differential settlement automatically be controlled. Okay, so and the allowable maximum settlement depend upon the type of the soil, type of the foundation. Okay, so and so on. The maximum settlement ranging from 20 to 300 is generally permitted for various structures and all. Okay, so what it says, allowable maximum settlement depends upon the type of the soil and so on. Then maximum settlement ranging, okay, maybe it may be range from the 20 mm to the 300 mm. Okay, is generally permitted for various. Theoretically no damage can be occurred, but will restrict to that one only, but can be permitted. That's the meaning of that. So with that, you read it up to here. Okay, maybe next class. Okay, allowable soil pressure also we'll see. So what we have covered in today's class, if you recall, so don't get panic. These are simple thing only. What we have studied is just settlement. First one is how to find out the ultimate bearing capacity by using the N values, SPT. Next, what we have done is we try to understand this settlement is. Okay, in that we have intermediate and the consolidation and the final settlement. So how to find out that one, we have seen it. And we have added it, okay, like that. And finally, we have seen the allowable settlement also, how much we will allow it. Okay, so with that, I'll stop today. You just read it once. One reading is enough because it is very difficult to read everything. So why I'm taking on the book means it will motivate you to read it. So it is very simple, but undergraduate level, no, Tirjagi's equation, other things may be sufficient, but this settlement also they'll ask some questions on settlement, okay, in the competitive exams.